Hello and welcome back to Planet 40k. In today's video we're going to be reviewing the Vanguard veterans from the Space Marine Codex. Before we do guys, if you haven't already, do me a huge favour and subscribe below. And also if you would like to join the membership for the channel, just click the blue button next to the subscribe button for more details. As for the shout out of the day, David Bowles for his comment regarding the Vindicator. So shout out to you David. So the Vanguard veterans, they're coming from the elite section of the Codex. They're 6 power level for the unit, they're 19 points per model. So let's look at some of the keywords of note. They've got the Melter Bomb keyword, they are a core unit, and they're an infantry. As for the datasheet, movement of 6 inches, weapon skill 3+, ballistic skill 3+, strength 4, toughness 4, wounds 2, attacks 2, leadership 8 and a 3+ save. With the sergeant in the unit getting an additional attack and an extra bit of leadership, taking the unit to a leadership value of 9. So pretty standard as far as Space Marine stats go. As for the abilities, Angels of Death, so all 4 of those buffs are going to contribute in some sort of way or another. Then they've got Combat Squad, so if you take a max unit of them you can split them up in half and deploy them separately. Just note that the Sergeant will only be in one of those squads. In terms of their war gear, each model is equipped with a bolt pistol and a Stratagems chainsword and then the frag and crack grenades. So I'll briefly show on the screen the bolt pistol and I'll also show the frag and crack grenades. You're probably not going to be using them. As for the Astartes chainsword, it's a strength user making it a strength 4, -1 AP and 1 damage, and you get an extra attack with the weapon. So there are options with this unit. Any model in the unit can replace their bolt pistol with one of the following. So it could either be a weapon from the pistols list, a weapon from the melee list, or 1 storm shield to a maximum of 1 per model. Then second to that, any number of models can replace their Astartes chainsword with one of the same options. So I'm going to briefly show you now all the pistol options you can take. The grab pistol to me stands out the most. Strength 5, -3 AP, 1 damage, and going up to 2 damage if you're against power armor, which isn't too bad. The hand flamer option and the Inferno pistol option are only available to the Death Watch and the Blood Angels chapters. So that just leaves the plasma pistol, which I'm not really a big fan of, especially when you roll in those ones to hit. Now if you wanted a melee weapon, there's all sorts of melee weapons at your disposal as well. Power fists, power mules, power swords, thunder hammers, power axes and lightning claws. Or you could just opt to keep the chainsword, it's not the worst option. But something that I do think is important is getting a storm shield. It's going to be 5 points with the new chapter approved, which has gone up 1 point. You're going to get yourself a 4+ invulnerable save and a +1 to your armor save, which puts you on a 2+ armor save, which isn't bad at all. Now if the unit's from the Death Watch chapter, any number of models can have their bolt pistol and the Stratagems chainsword replaced with 1 heavy thunder hammer. It's 15 points for this heavy thunder hammer. It's strength 8, -3 AP and the damage is 4. But it will be a -1 to hit. So pretty brutal there. Now the Vanguard veteran sergeant can change his Astartes chainsword for a relic blade, which is strength 7, -3 AP and 2 damage. That will cost you 10 points. Not a bad option to be honest, especially going against other marine units that have 2 wounds apiece. Now all models in the unit can be equipped with a jump pack each. It will increase the power rating by 1 if the unit contains 5 models. And any more than 5 models, it's going to increase the power rating by 2. So the jump packs are now 3 points each. They were 2 points each, but the chapter approved just came out, so it's gone up 1 point. It's still pretty cheap in my opinion. They give you 12-inch movement, give you the fly keyword, and you can also deep strike with them. So there's multiple ways of kitting these guys out. So let's talk about a few of the options here. So for no additional cost, you can run a double chainsword model having 2 chainsaws, which will give you 2 additional attacks. Or you can opt to go with the double lightning claws for 6 points. For the 2 extra attacks and your re-rolling wound rolls. If you want to go more expensive, you can add a storm shield and pair it with a thunder hammer for a total of 15 points per man. Or you could kit the unit out all with grav pistols and then do whatever you like with the second one really. Chainsaws are probably the cheaper way to go. So it really depends on what you fancy and what else you have in your list. But it is great as you can pretty much build any melee marine unit with virtually any melee weapon. And you can give them a jump pack, which I definitely pay 2 points per man. It's going to be much cheaper than getting a rhino or a drop pod. And it just makes more sense to have the added movement with fly that gives you access to deep strike. And with fly you can be attacking flyers and whatnot as well. Let's move into the stratagems that are available for the units. You've got adaptive strategy, 2 command points this will cost you. Providing that your warlord is on the battlefield, you can select a core unit to have all the doctrines open for that turn. So if you got in and you're not in the assault doctrine, you can turn the assault doctrine on even if you're only in turn 2 and get the extra -1 AP. Melter Bomb is the next stratagem because they've got the Melter Bomb's keyword. In the fight phase, you select 1 model in the unit. That model can only make 1 attack this phase, but they must target an enemy vehicle with the attack, and if a hit is scored then the unit will suffer 2d3 mortal wounds. So an average of 4 mortal wounds going on a vehicle, not too bad. As for some chapter synergy, I'm going to talk about the ones that are more melee based here. So White Scars have got the ability to fall back and recharge. with their lightning assault, chapter tactics, and in their assault doctrine they're going to get a +1 to their damage on the charge, which is really good for lightning claws in particular. Space Wolves, you normally would mention them here, but they've got their own unit which is the Wolfguard, so we'll discuss them when we do their review. Black Templars can reroll the charge rolls and advance rolls. In their assault doctrine, 6s to hit will auto wound, so pretty good, so you're not going to fail those wound rolls. You can use a devout push stratagem for an extra bit of piling in, even though you're not in engagement range, so it can be very handy to suck a unit in. Then the Emperor's Will stratagem to advance and charge, which I think is a pretty good one if you're not deep striking in. Blood Angels, you get a +1 to advance, +1 to charge, and +1 to wound rolls, which is very strong even against the low strength weapons such as chainsaws and lightning claws. They get a +1 to attack in the assault doctrine with Savage Echoes as well. Then they've got the Descent of Angels stratagem for a +1 to hit. As for some unit synergy, if you've got a captain with a jump pack, he can be giving core units within 6 inches the rerolls of 1s to hit. You can take a Librarian in Terminator armor to meet your guys at their location, and in the psychic phase you can cast Veil of Time, which will give them reroll to their advance and charge rolls, and they're going to be fighting first in the fight phase. You could be a bit daring and go with Null Zone to remove all invuln saves within 6 inches of the Psyker. Now if you've got your Storm Shields, just bear in mind that they will also be turned off. And if you didn't take the Storm Shield, you can cast Psychic Fortress. So if you're within 6 inches of the Psyker, you're going to get a 5+ invulnerable save. So if you took a 5-man unit with Storm Shields, that's going to cost you 20 additional points just for the shields alone. And it obviously takes away one of your weapon slots, so you couldn't have, say, double Lightning Claws for example. So you may find it useful to spend 105 points on a Psyker in Terminator armor. You could take a Chaplain as well in Terminator armor to meet you there, with the Litany of Hate to reroll your hit rolls in melee, or the Exaltation of Rage to add 1 to the attack's wound rolls. Now this one of course doesn't work very well with the Blood Angels chapter if they're charged or were charged, because they've already got the +1 to wound rolls and it's already capped on a -1 or a +1. Or the third one here you can use is Canticle of Hate, which is an aura. You're going to add 2 to charge rolls made for the unit. Then not only that, any pile-in and consolidation moves will get an additional 3 inches, which is going to really aid your next charge. For a summary for the Vanguard veterans, starting with the good, they've got cheap access to jump packs, they've got a variety of weapon options, especially in melee. They're a core unit, so they're going to synergize with quite a lot of characters and stratagems. And as mentioned already, they've got a lot of options with the melee weapons, but they're also very good in melee. They've got access to the Storm Shield for that invulnerable save, which is quite important. And then finally, they got the Melter Bomb stratagem, just for a bit of anti-tank. As for the bad, they get pricey when you kit them out, especially with the Thunder Hammers, they're getting quite expensive there. They're also competing with other melee units within the Codex, Assault Terminators for example. They've got an extra wound, a better armor save against the AP, but they're not as quick. Once they've used their deep strike to get in, they're only moving 5 inches, so it swings and roundabouts. Then they can't use the Transhuman Physiology stratagem because that only works on Primaris Marines, and this unit is a Firstborn Marine unit. Then finally, no objectives secured as they're elite. They are comparable to the Assault Intercessors, except they've obviously got the jump packs, but no objectives secured. So going on to their rating, I think they're one of the better units in the Codex, especially in melee, so I'm going to be giving them a Planet 40k rating of 5 out of 5. So guys, if you liked the video and you found it useful, be sure to subscribe below. We're on our way to 3,500 subs. Also remember, a random commenter will get selected for the next video for the comment of the day. So drop a like on your exits. Thank you all for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.